The Lion King and Star Wars, mythological symbols and themes.
Is it face or vase?
You gonna be asking that the whole trip?
I don't need to tell you that The Lion King and Star Wars are very different movies. I mean, one is Hamlet, but with lions. No, really. It has a prince whose father is killed by his evil uncle who takes the throne, and the prince is banished to a foreign land and sees the ghost of his father. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, one is Hamlet with lions, and the other is space wizards, laser swords, and starship battles. But these stories become startlingly similar as their heroes approach the 8th step of the hero's journey, the ordeal. Nala has just found Simba, and they have a fun little reunion until she tells him of the troubles at home and asks him to come back. Simba tries to explain Hakuna Matata and storms off saying he can't go home.
I can't go back. What would it prove anyway? Won't change anything. You can't change the past.
Luke has just crash-landed in a swamp after having escaped the Empire's attack on Hoth. It is at this point both Simba and Luke meet what at first glance appears to be a crazy old dude.
Enough already.
R2, let him have it.
R2!
These two are of the mentor archetype. I'll go more in depth on archetypes in another video, but do keep in mind that crazy old dude can just as easily be a lady.
Why are you acting weird?
I'm the village crazy lady. That's my job.
Because dude is gender neutral.
I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. Cause we're all dudes. Hey!
As is generally the case with this sort of character, the crazy old dudes end up revealing there is more to them than it would appear. The craziness was, in part, an act to test the hero.
You're Mufasa's boy.
You knew my father?
Jedi Master Yoda. You seek Yoda.
You know him?
To be fair, Luke couldn't ask if Yoda knew his father because he already asked that question to a different crazy old dude in the previous film.
What if he's related to Ben?
That wizard's just a crazy old man.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I wish I'd known him.
Luke trains with Yoda and for the most part screws up just about everything he tries. Eventually, both he and Simba are led to a cave.
What's the symbology there?
Symbology? I'm sure the word you were looking for was symbolism. What is the symbolism?
The symbolism of the cave is very important. The 8th stage of the hero's journey is the stage during which the hero goes through an ordeal and emerges from this ordeal changed in a way that allows them to triumph. This stage is seen as the death of the old character and resurrection of the new.
But is it a movie about Jesus?
Is The Matrix? Is RoboCop? Is Superman Returns? All stories are about death and resurrection.
This can be a literal death or a symbolic death, much as the cave can be a literal cave or a metaphorical cave. This would be the part in the story where the hero ventures through the underworld. In the first Star Wars film, the Death Star can be seen as the cave, and the fall into the trash compactor would be the innermost cave or belly of the beast. I will spend more time talking about individual steps of the hero's journey in future videos. So Simba and Luke progress through the cave. Both heroes then encounter visions of their fathers. This is massively important as both visions seek to impart to the hero that their father lives within them. Of course, at this point, Luke doesn't know that Darth Vader is his father, so he just sees his greatest enemy / greatest fear. He also doesn't comprehend the other message of his vision, which is that he is already more like his father than he realizes. The ghost of Simba's father tells Simba to remember who he is. Now this part isn't mythological, but it should be noted that both fathers are voiced by the incomparable James Earl Jones. He does an amazing job. One father is malevolent, dark, and scary.
He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
The other is proud, stern, loving, but disappointed.
Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become.
Now, there are many different ordeals a hero can go through during this stage, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to explain one, which is Ariadne's thread. In Greek mythology, Ariadne was a princess and the daughter of King Minos of Crete. King Minos sacrificed people to the Minotaur, which was kept trapped in a labyrinth. One year, one of the sacrificial members included Theseus, who volunteered to kill the Minotaur. Ariadne fell in love with Theseus at first sight and gave him a sword and a ball of thread, hence Ariadne's thread, so that he could retrace his way out of the labyrinth of the Minotaur. When speaking in terms of mythological storytelling and the ordeal, the idea of Ariadne's thread refers to the bond that connects the hero to their loved ones. A hero may journey far into madness and death, but is often pulled back by such bonds.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king.
The Old English word for a ball of thread is clue. That is where the word clue comes from. A clue is a thread that can be traced back to a center when looking for answers or order. We'll talk more about different types of ordeals in future videos, but some others that apply to these films are facing the shadow, demonization, facing the greatest fear, standing up to a parent, and death of the ego. It should be noted again that Luke does not understand his vision, just as he doesn't understand many of the teachings of Yoda. He ignores the warning in the cave and Yoda's teachings, and that is part of why he falls to Darth Vader. He does not complete his hero's journey in The Empire Strikes Back, and it isn't until the very end of Return of the Jedi that he comes to understand the message of the cave and the wisdom of Yoda and Obi-Wan. Simba, on the other hand, understands his message from the cave and goes back to help his people. He defeats Scar, but remembering his father, he shows mercy and allows Scar to leave alive. Scar then proves he is irredeemable by continuous attempts to kill Simba. He ignores his chance to leave safely. Scar is then consumed by the very evil that he helped perpetuate. When Luke finally understands the message from the cave, he too shows mercy to his opponent. He allows Darth Vader to live. Then Emperor Palpatine is destroyed by the very evil he helped perpetuate. So as you can see, there are many similar mythological themes and symbols used in both The Lion King and Star Wars, but it doesn't stop there. If you know how to look for it, you can see the mythological patterns in almost everything. Here are a couple more examples of the cave and the death and resurrection of the hero. The first is Black Panther, where the hero is buried after eating the heart-shaped herb. While buried, he goes to the ancestral plane, or underworld, or metaphorical cave. He there speaks with his dead father, and then returns to the mortal plane with the knowledge and strength to defeat his enemies. Iron Man 2 has a phenomenal example of this step in that it's not a literal death or a literal cave. In Iron Man 2, Tony is dying from the arc reactor in his chest. He is placed under house arrest and is under the impression that he wasn't loved by his father.
What do you remember about your dad, huh? He was cold, he was calculating, he never told me he loved me, he never even told me he liked me.
While under house arrest, or stuck in a metaphorical cave, he sees an old video clip of his father, or you could say he sees the ghost of his father.
I built this for you, and someday you'll realize that it represents a whole lot more than just people's inventions. I'm limited by the technology of my time, but one day you'll figure this out. What is and always will be my greatest creation is you.
This vision inspires him and gives him the knowledge necessary to create a new element that will save not only himself, but also help him save everyone else.
Dead for almost 20 years. Still taking me to school.
Some people despair when they learn more about mythological story structure, as they say it ruins watching movies for them because they know what will happen. I have a different opinion on that, and so I will share this quote from Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. "No, sweet king. The past is the future, and as each man has lived, so must you. So I can but repeat what has been done before? In some things, yes. You will love, you will hurt, you will dream, and you will die. Each man's past is your future." "Then what is the point," I asked, "if all has been seen and done?" "The question," they replied, "is not whether you will love, hurt, dream, and die. It is what you will love, why you will hurt, when you will dream, and how you will die. This is your choice. You cannot pick the destination, only the path." Make sure to stay tuned to this channel for more film breakdowns, mythological discussions, hero's journey explanations, and more.
It's phase time, bitches.
What? And they slapped his face on every face, on every vase.
The vase! Shit! Is it vase or vase?
You gonna be asking that the whole trip?